Well, hey everybody, welcome to the very first edition of Blue Star Roundup. And my name is Rob Vale, this is Levi Batchelor. We are with the Middle Tennessee Dallas Cowboys fan club. And every week we're going to be bringing you a little video, just kind of giving a little bit of an idea about what to expect from our team this year. We'll do it from week to week and just kind of take the games game by game. We'll do a little review, just kind of keep everybody up to date on what's happening, and hopefully if you're in the Middle Tennessee area and you're a Cowboys fan, you'll come out and visit us at some of our watch parties that we have at Bailey's in Goodlettsville, right behind the Rivergate Mall. So we would love to have you come out. With that said, we want to jump right into week one. We are getting ready for the opening
week one.
The opening game.
I mean,
I'm telling you, how about that? I mean,
back.
It has been a long off season, hasn't it?
It has.
So I am just really excited about it. Tell me, what's your expectations, Levi? What do you think?
You know, I try to temper my expectations a lot of times, especially given the parity of this league. I mean, it's tough to say on any given Sunday who's the favorite in a particular matchup. With that being said, I think that the bar is pretty high for the Cowboys. I think that we've got a lot of potential. There's a lot of young talent on the team. There's a lot of veteran leadership on the team, and I think that we are right now, even with Romo's injury that I'm sure we're going to end up talking about, there is enough veteran presence on this football team that the window that everybody talks about, I think we're right in the middle of the window. I think we've got some obvious concerns on defense, but man, to be honest, I don't think that even with Dak back there throwing the ball, I don't think there's a defense in the league that's going to be able to stop us consistently.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think there's a lot of weapons around Dak. I mean, you look at our offensive line, arguably the best in the league.
No question.
You look at Dez Bryant, probably one of the top 2 or 3 receivers in the league.
Yeah.
He's dynamic. Not to mention the fact that we've got a brand new shiny car that we're going to take out called Zeke Elliott.
The Zeke Express.
Yeah, so I think he has everything that a rookie quarterback could ask for to be successful, and so I think they've done a good job of putting pieces together. I mean, imagine their thought going into this was, hey, we need to get pieces for Romo,
right?
But it's going to benefit Dak. And,
Absolutely.
And I think myself, I really think that we're going to see I think we'll see a bit of a pared down offense the first couple weeks with Dak, just because he's a rookie and all.
Right.
But I do believe that offensive line is going to just lean on the defenses a lot, and we're going to see a lot more that zone blocking, that downhill running from Zeke, and let's not forget Morris, and
yep.
We've got a good backfield. I'm really excited about.
Absolutely.
I'm really excited about seeing Lance Dunbar coming back from the injury.
His injury. Yep.
The guy is a gadget player. I mean, the guy can do a lot. He can do a lot of different things on the football field.
Yep.
Out of the backfield. He can line up in the slot. He can line up wide if we have to. The other thing I think we'll look for this year is watching how Scott Linehan moves Dez Bryant around in the formations a lot. I think you'll see him, not only lining up at his X spot, but I think you're going to see him in the slot. I think you're going to see him in motion a lot more to get him more favorable matchups.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really excited too. I think we're going to see some good stuff from this team. At this time of the year, right before the first game, the big news is what's happened in training camp, and
Yep.
of course the big thing that happened, and we lost our number 1, number 2 quarterbacks to injury, and we lost Kellen Moore almost right away, and
Yep.
Dak moved up, and then Tony remembered he couldn't play baseball and made this really bizarre slide, broke his back. So that's the big news. But the bigger news came out today, and that was that the Cowboys, at least at this point, as of the videotaping of this spot, has decided not to put Tony Romo on IR.
Yep.
With the designation to return.
Yep.
What that tells me is that when they originally diagnosed this injury, it was a 6 to 10 week injury.
Mm-hmm.
Most doctors have said that the bone will be healed in 6 weeks. So, and even then, even if it wasn't, he could still play with that because it's not going to affect throwing. It's just a pain tolerance issue. What by not putting him on the IR at this point, it indicates to me that the team and the team doctors are confident that he'll be able to come back before that time frame would be up with the IR. So I expect to see him possibly the 4th game, maybe into the 5th game.
Right.
We'll see. I think maybe they might be targeting that Green Bay game back when he goes back home to maybe get that next start. So we'll see. I'm confident that Dak can get us in a position where when Tony comes back, we won't be behind the 8 ball too far.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta absolutely agree. I think the East, the NFC East as a division this year is down. I think Philly is in full-blown rebuild mode. The Giants have their whole coaching staff change, and so they're still in the process of bringing in all of their guys in the office up there.
Well, and they're learning a new system
Right.
with the Giants too,
Right.
and their offensive line is really subpar. I mean, they've had some issues. So you're right. The league or the division is kind of really anybody can take this thing, and we saw last year that anybody that wanted the division could have gotten it. It's just that it didn't seem like anybody really wanted it there at the end. So,
but yeah, with the rest of the East being down, like I said, my confidence is that the Cowboys don't need Dak to go out and be perfect.
Right.
The Cowboys don't need Dak to go out and be undefeated, however many games Romo is out.
Right.
If he's out 6 games, we don't need to be 6-0 when Romo comes back to.
It would help.
Now, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to complain if we're 6-0, but I think that we've got, like I said, especially on the offensive side of the ball. You touched on it. There is so much talent on that side of the ball that it makes Dak's job that much easier to be able to get stuff done. Mm-hmm. And with him not having to worry, that he doesn't have that pressure of every Sunday I have got to go out here and be absolutely perfect. I don't have to be Tony Romo of the last few years and carry this entire offense on my back. And if I mess up, then we're just screwed. Dak doesn't have to do that. Right. All he's got to do is turn around and hand the ball off to Zeke and let him and the hog mollies up front just destroy defensive lines like they've done all preseason.
Yeah, and I think you'll see. Like I said, I think you'll see a lot of them leaning on the defenses and just doing that.
Absolutely.
Just to make life a little bit more sane for Dak and make it a little more simple. Just going to touch real quick here on the practice squad because I think there's a couple guys on that practice squad that will be some big help to us at some point. Either if it's not this year, here's a couple names for next year. Austin Traylor is a tight end. Yep. The reason I want to mention Austin Traylor is there's some concern about Gavin Escobar. Can he be productive? He was a 2nd round pick. At some point, he's got to start playing like a 2nd round pick. Now, he was injured last year. He came back great this year. He's able to move really well. But the fact that they let Traylor go, we kept of course Witten and Escobar, but we also kept Hannah. We weren't going to keep 4 tight ends. With that said, that's a guy to keep an eye on down the road. He may, excuse me, if something happens with Escobar and they're not comfortable, they may elevate him at some point to the active roster. So keep an eye on it. The other guy that I want to point out is that went through waivers and got through was Ryan Russell. Everybody knows that our defensive line needs some help. Now, defensive end is probably where we're most where our Achilles heel is. Yeah. But Ryan Russell is a little bit of a surprise that he was cut and then brought back. I mean, not that he was brought back. I really thought he'd make the actual 53. But he didn't have the impact that they expected him to have in the 2nd year. But with more coaching and more time, become a force for us. One other injury I did want to touch on was the Charles Tapper injury. I think the thing about Tapper is he's a strong guy, and he's got a high motor.
Yep.
We all know he had a back issue. It turns out that it was a degenerative type of thing, but he has had it since he was born, and it was never diagnosed. And he always knew he had a little back problem, a little back pain, but it would always go away and he was fine. Well, in training camp, it started to bother him, and he lost feeling in his leg. Of course, they then was able to diagnose it. It's just something that he's going to get back in shape. Probably he'll be back out there in maybe the second or third game. So keep an eye on Charles Tapper. When he does get back on the field, I think he is going to be one of those guys that we're going to look at and go, wow, what a great pick.
Right,
so,
absolutely.
All right, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the next week's game with the Giants, the home opener.
That's right.
And a few other things. So we'll be back in just a minute. All right, we're back with Blue Star Roundup, a production of Middle Tennessee Dallas Cowboys Fan Club.
That's right.
And I hope you had a chance to get that website that was on the bottom of the screen for Game Day Sports Tours. They are our Cowboys travel partners, and if you're thinking about going to a Dallas Cowboy game, you've got to give them a call. Just go to their website at www.gamedaysportstours.com. Call them up. Talk to them, tell them you heard about them from our video here. They're going to treat you right. They're a great group of people. I've been with them several times. When you go down, it's player autographs and great food and a great tailgate. And I'm going down for this first one. I'm going to get a chance to meet my hero, Bob Lilly. So there's going to be a lot to do for us. And when you go down, it'll be no difference. They treat you just like kings. You'll have a great time. So please check out www.gamedaysportstours.com.
Link is in the description.
Awesome, very good. So we're getting ready for our opening game, and but it's against the Giants, and it's always a high-scoring affair with the Giants. It just seems like we're always scoring between the two teams in the 50s and 60s, and it's always that way. Don't think this game will be any different. I think that we'll probably have to. We're probably going to have to keep up with the scoring. I don't think we can afford to trade field goals for touchdowns.
Absolutely not.
But I do believe that I think we match up pretty good. Our offense against their defense, I'm pretty confident in.
Yes.
What's your thoughts going into the game?
There's several individual matchups that I want to keep an eye on. Specifically, there's going to be Tyron out at tackle, and whoever they put up against him, whether it's they move JPP out there or one of their other ends. Before his hand injury last year, JPP was just always one of those characters that always seemed to have Tyron figured out. Mm-hmm. And there would be times where he would get Tyron on roller skates and they wouldn't be able to get his hands on him, because everybody knows with Tyron, as soon as he's able to get his hands on you,
you're done.
You're done.
Yeah.
JPP was always one of those slippery tunes that could get in, that could still figure out to find his way around Tyron.
Right.
This year, this game, I expect to be no different from a battle competition standpoint out on that left side. Tyron, so far though, has looked immovable in the preseason. He's played fantastic. Let's see, on the defensive side of the ball, who is going to shut down Odell Beckham Jr.? I mean, do we play the shallow zone where Byron Jones comes up from his safety spot and tries to double him closer to the line, or are they're going to back him up and have him play center field? What do you think there?
Yeah, I think we'll see a lot of dime defense. I think that we have to figure out the best way to control the wideouts, because, as I had said before, their offensive line is a weak link.
Right.
If we can generate any kind of pressure against Eli, and we don't if we can maintain the wide receivers just for 4, 5, 6 seconds,
Yep.
I think I think with some creative defensive scheming, we may be able to get to Eli and make him come underneath a lot. And if we can keep everything underneath and in front of us, our linebackers can react. We have
Yep.
some very good linebackers.
Yep.
I'm all in on Sean Lee.
Yep.
I think he is one of the best linebackers in the league.
Yep.
If you can just it's always with him. Can you stay healthy?
Right.
And when he's healthy, there's really none better. He fills the gaps well. He understands the game.
And he's good in space.
Yeah,
he's
very
good in
good.
space, very quick, sideline to sideline. I mean, he got a good head on his shoulders. Just like you said, can he finally stay healthy?
Yeah, and he did. He stayed healthy last year for the most part. He sat out the last game with a slight injury, but
Yep.
but still, it was a good year for him. The guy I'm looking forward to seeing this year, and call me crazy, but I think Mo Claiborne could be the guy that just stands out.
He's looked good so far.
Preseason, he's looked
a
good.
whole lot better.
Camp has looked good. During camp, he's won battles after battles when he's gone up against Dez. So I believe that this is going to be a good year for him. He is, he's on a 1-year deal with us.
Yep.
So that always encourages players to play a little bit better.
Yep.
Hopefully we'll see that on the field. When we talk about the Giants, everybody talks about Odell Beckham Jr. and of course you have to account for him, and you have to account for for Eli and a quick release, because that's really where he excels.
And with that offensive line, he's not going to have a whole lot of time to sit back there, and I mean, he's going to have to get rid of that football.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I'm saying is I think if we're able to, if our defensive backs can maintain the wide receivers even for an intermediate amount of time,
Yep.
we can get him to make those underneath throws, and if we keep our linebackers in on the tight ends,
Yep.
and we're paying attention, I think we can do well. I am very much cautiously optimistic about the outcome of this game, and I think we'll be fine. So, but when we're watching this game, tell me, give me. I know you talked about Tyron Smith and the matchup over there, but is there a player, one individual guy that you think, you know what, this guy can turn the game around?
Oh.
And someone to pay attention to.
That Dez, easy. Zeke, easy. I mean, either one of those guys are home run hitters. They're a threat every time they get the football in their hands. Balance is going to open up holes in a run game. Balance is going to open us up down the field.
And keep the defense honest.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like I said, if it's one particular player, I mean, Dez, Zeke, I mean, like I said, we've got a handful of home run hitters on the offensive side of the ball. On the defensive side of the ball, the key to beating the Giants is rattling Eli. And you rattle Eli by moving him off of his spot. He's going to take 3 to 5 steps, and he's going to stand there for as long as he. And I mean, you got to give him credit, because I mean, he will take a lick standing back in the pocket, because he's just a tough guy. But I mean, he's going to stand back there for as long as he can, and then when he goes to throw the ball, it's out like that.
Right.
So the key there is getting to his feet, making him move, be a little shifty in the pocket. I mean, he's not much of a threat to run on you or to tear you up down once the pass rush has gone by, but another player from what I've seen is Crawford. Man, on that defensive line, he was a disruptive force all throughout the preseason. He's looked good through training camp, and I think that he, at least on defense, the argument is always the secondary needs to give the defensive line enough time to get to the quarterback. And conversely, the defensive line needs to get to the quarterback quick enough to where the secondary isn't having to cover all day.
Chicken or the egg
exactly
question. Well, you mentioned his name. And Tyron Crawford is the guy. Was
Yeah.
my guy to watch, because I think because of the way the offensive line is for the Giants, I think Crawford, who has shown the ability to get penetration, to stand up to the run, I think as well. I think that he could be the guy that at some point during this game
Absolutely.
makes a play.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be a sack at a very opportune time, if it's going to be a sack strip fumble. I don't know if it's a recovery for a touch. I don't know, but the guy just seems to me to have it.
Yep.
Whatever that it is, he has it.
And he's come back from his injury in fantastic shape. He looks ready.
Yeah, and that's why I think he makes that interior very, very good. Now, keep in mind, we've got another guy out there, Benson Mayowa.
Yep.
Has got some real talent there as well. Mm-hmm. And don't forget Cedric Thornton. I mean, we've got some guys that can really create some havoc in the middle of that offensive line. And so you may see that big play that we're talking about, that we want to see. What that big play is, that might be where it comes from.
Yep.
Right in that middle, and I think Crawford will be right in the midst of all of that. So I'm excited about it. I'm really excited about this season.
Yes.
I do not see a reason why we don't make the playoffs. I mean, everybody will say, well, you don't have your starting quarterback to start the season. Okay, that's fine. Next man up type of thing.
Yep.
I do believe that we've got enough talent on this team now. Last year, you got to remember, we didn't have Ezekiel Elliott.
Right.
Okay. We had a running back by committee for the first 6-7 games until Randall left and McFadden took over.
Yep.
Who incidentally wound up being the 4th leading rusher in the NFL. Not starting for 6 games.
That's right.
So that tells you what kind of offensive line. And also remember that Romo was out and Dez was out for a very long time. And when he came back, he was never right. I think we've got a lot more talent.
Absolutely.
Right now, Romo notwithstanding, that I think we'll be fine.
Well, I mean, even on the defensive side of the ball, I know that we've all got our concerns with just the level of talent that's out there on the defensive side of the ball. And I think that the defense is, especially with getting Scandrick back, Carr is put up or shut up time. Mo is put up or shut up time. I mean, these are guys that are going to be now playing for their jobs, playing for a job next year.
Right.
And on top of that, even with all the youth and inexperience throughout the linebackers and our the whole front seven, that if there is one coach in the league that is going to be able to coach up a bunch of talented but still pretty raw, youthful guys, you got to think Marinelli is the one to be able to do it.
Yeah, I think Hot Rod's the guy. I think we've got a good coaching staff too. I mean, the guys that are on there are all. When you look at the coaching staff, you look at Rod Marinelli, you look at Leon Lett, you look at some of these other guys that have been through the fire. That's teaching them how to be a good football player. I think we're in good shape. And and not just coaching, but scheming. I think Rod Marinelli does a pretty good job with that. Yeah, we didn't get a lot of turnovers last year. I think that's going to change this year.
Yes.
I think we saw in preseason.
Yep.
We saw some turnovers from our defense. They've put a focus on that this year. Yep. So let's see how that works out. I'm again, like I said, I am really excited about it.
Me too.
So,
it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's going to be. Well, listen. This is our first episode of Blue Star Roundup. We hope that you enjoyed it. We are the Middle Tennessee Dallas Cowboys Fan Club. Once you go to Facebook, just type in Middle Tennessee Dallas Cowboys Fan Club. You'll find it. You'll find a couple of our pages. There's a like page on there. You just like us. There's another one that you can join. Just click join, and you'll get all the information about us. Yep. But we do encourage you to go and just read some of the posts and stuff. We put a lot of stuff up on there. If you're in the Middle Tennessee area, come out to Bailey's
Come on
Sports Bar and Grill out behind the Rivergate Mall in Goodlettsville. We have a great time, great food out there, and don't forget to check out www.gamedaysportstours.com. There are great people down there. You'll have a wonderful time, and you'll thank me for telling you about them. So until next week, it's Rob Vale and Levi Batchelor, and we will talk to you again. Thanks for watching.
If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give us a like and a subscribe to be able to make sure that you're getting all of the latest Dallas Cowboys fan club news.